Welcome back, Warrior. So we are currently on Joseph Smith History, chapter 1, verses 1 to 26. But we decided to read it during our intro. So, because it felt like during the intro to the Doctrine and Covenants, because it felt like that was an important thing that we needed to read. But there were some things that I wanted to highlight that I didn't get to highlight because of all the other things we were talking about. So some of the things that I really love is in Joseph Smith History, chapter 1, verse 20, he says that he's learned for himself. And I just love the idea, I love the idea of it, but I also love the reality of it, right? Like, I love the idea of the youth learning for themselves. And I was talking to my sister-in-law, and we both kind of had the same experience where we weren't really converted to the gospel until later on. And it was almost like right when you make the choice to become converted to the Lord, things happen for your good. Now, I am a believer in that things happen for us and not to us and not to be victims and things like that. But the Lord has the same thing, right? Like when we decide to turn our lives over to the Lord and be on his side, he makes life so much better. It was no joke, probably 2 to 3 weeks after I chose to come to church, or maybe it was like the week after. Like, I wish I had a journal about all these things, because it would have really been helpful for me to see this in my life's timeline. But it was General Conference, I remember, where President Hinckley spoke about raves and how it was not a good idea to go. And I was shocked that he, as a prophet of the Lord who's an old guy, would know anything about anything in clubs, let alone specifically things that happen in a rave setting. And I love going to those because they were so much fun. I love the music. I never partook of those drugs or drinking or anything like that. But I just loved being there with the music. There was no other atmosphere where there was a lot of people gathered to listen to that kind of music. And sadly, in our church culture, we don't have a bunch of dances, because I don't know why we don't. Okay, let's bring that back. Can we bring that? Because I know in my ward, in my Spanish speaking ward, we always had dances and parties like that. And we always found an excuse to gather and dance and party. But in my English speaking wards, we don't usually have parties like that ever. It's very rare. And the times we do is like New Year's, if you're lucky. And if you're lucky to sign up for like the chaperoning of the youth dance, And so anyway, it was just really fun when we were in the Spanish speaking world. Anyway, so I liked going to those places because I felt like I could dance and do those things. But so to hear a prophet of the Lord speaking of this, I was like, he must be a for real prophet, because he is saying things that I did not think he would know. And so I decided then that I was going to continue to go to church and was going to become more active. And I really loved how I felt when I went to church, because I knew what it was like not to go, and I knew what it was like to go. And so that's why I had changed my mind and was like, I need to start going. I don't like being in this thick darkness anymore. And talked to my bishop, and anyway, he's the best. Bishops are always the best, right? Well, hopefully. Anyway, so when I came back, it was like conference and who knows if that was the conference that was right then, or was rebroadcast. I don't know, but I watched it, and they didn't. We couldn't just watch it like online or on our phone. Like back then, we had nothing. Today we can watch President Hinckley talking about stuff all day long. But back then we had nothing, so you had to go to the church building to be able to get these conference talks. Anyway, so I was at the church building. That's when I saw it. I was like, okay. And not kidding, that summer is when I met my husband. Right? And it's like wild to think that that was the second that I chose, like, yes, I'm going to choose the Lord now and in my life instead of what I was doing. And you have to give things up, for better things. And so anyway, so the moral of the story is, when you choose the Lord, you choose life, you choose light, and you can learn these things for yourself. Sadly, I don't want people to learn things for themselves. I just want them to learn things through me instead. Like, oh, I tried it, just trust me on this, right? But I know that people have to learn things for themselves. I love learning things for myself. So yeah, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, you see what I'm saying. So anyway, I love that scripture. I love that he's able to point that out. The other thing that I wanted to point out is how he says that he knew that God knew it and he couldn't deny it, right? And he knew that God knew that he knew it and he couldn't deny it. And that is my testimony. Like, I know that God knows that I know. And so I can't deny his goodness. I can't deny his grace. I can't deny his love. I can't deny his forgiveness. I can't deny his healing. I can't deny his power in my life, because if I do, then I deny myself, right? And anyway, like I had to share that. I want to make sure that we are learning these things for ourselves, right? That's the key. The Lord loves for us to help others and serve others. And sometimes we feel like it's for their benefit. And like we're doing all these things for them. But I want you to know that the Lord is you're doing that for the Lord, but he just wants you. He just wants you. All other people aside, he just wants you to come unto him. And doing those extra things like serving others and serving your family and loving your family and forgiving your spouse and doing those things to be Christ-like and to become better helps us become more like Christ, and strengthens our relationship, because we can feel like, oh, he did this, he knows what that's like, now I can know what that's like. And so we can come closer to him, because it's like now, it's like we're being relatable with Jesus Christ. Like, who else would it even be better for us to be relatable to? Zero people, zero, nobody else. Let's be relatable to Christ, right? Like, I know it's so fun to be relatable to like your friends and your neighbors, and you can have these friendships strengthened because you both have been through the same thing. And I get that, because my sisters and I say I have these warrior sisters. I have like Worth Sisters 1 and Worth Sisters 2, and we've been through like what feels like the same thing together, because our husbands were all addicted to pornography at some point, and we all came together at that same moment to become friends and strengthen each other through our examples, through our suffering, through our kindness, through our love for each other, through just being there for each other, and it's been awesome. But what I love is that not only was I able to connect with these sisters, I was able to connect with Christ more than with those sisters, because those sisters, not only would they be relatable, but they would relate me back to the Lord, right? And that is what I want. I want those faithful friendships that not only strengthen us together, but strengthen me with Christ. And that's who I need always. And whether my sister is going to be there or not, or she doesn't answer her text, or maybe she didn't know what to say because it got a little awkward, or maybe I didn't know what to say because sometimes I'm not going through the exact same thing they are, even though we have a lot of relatable things. Anyway, so yeah, let's be relatable to Jesus Christ. That would be the best scenario for each one of us. Okay, some other quotes that I thought were really cool that went with Joseph Smith History, chapter 1, are, one second, let me pause it. Okay, so this is from Elder David A. Bednar, taught about the different patterns of revelation. He taught, revelations are conveyed in a variety of ways, including, for example, dreams, visions, conversations with heavenly messengers, and inspirations. Some revelations are received immediately and intensely. Some are recognized gradually and subtly. A light turned on in a dark room is like receiving a message from God quickly, completely, and all at once. The gradual increase of light radiating from the rising sun is like receiving a message from God, line upon line, precept upon precept. Most frequently, revelation comes in small increments over time and is granted according to our desires, worthiness, and preparation, end quote. I remember that talk and felt like he did a great job explaining those things. Okay, so April 2011 General Conference. That was that long ago. So the redhead hostess says that Joseph's experience in the grove will be like a light turned on at once. However, what led him to the grove was the gradual increase of light that came over time because of his desire, worthiness, and preparation. Ooh, yes, right? That makes complete sense. So, at one point I was working with the youth and the leaders gathered and we were like, how do we instill desire? Right? Like, how do you instill desire in your youth? I still have no idea. I'm still working on that one. So if you have a tip, ideas, anything with how to instill desire into a youth to want to come unto Christ, to want to have a relationship with Christ, let me know, please. My phone number is 801-380-5553. Text me, whatever it is, I need to know. How do you instill desire? Maybe desire is not even something I can instill. And I didn't even consider this. Maybe desire is something only the Lord can instill. I don't know. Maybe I've been going around going about this the wrong way, been trying to think, how do I instill desire? And instead I should just be praying for the Lord to instill a desire in my kids, right? Except, I don't know, like, would that be an interesting question to have interesting conversation with the Lord about that? Okay. All right, I think that's what we're gonna leave that because we already read 1 through 26, and we're gonna pick back up 26 through now I can't remember what the other ones were, but that's what we're gonna leave for right now. And so until next time, I am actually currently highlighting and reading the Book of Mormon every day so that I can highlight the names of Jesus Christ. So if you're interested, just look on my other playlists. You'll find them. And you can see, and we're also putting page titles on all of the pages so that it's easier for us to reference what's going on that page. So you'll see what it is when you see it. So thanks for being here. Until next time, stay strong, warrior.